Welcome back to Liverpool 12th Man Show. This is Liverpool 12th Man, just as much as you are. So, therefore, we are on the same page or same platform, and that is Loyal Reds, definitely proper to the T. And that means that we're going to have a very interesting conversation today about a lot of different things, dealing with the coach, dealing with players, dealing with some of the things that are going on in our Liverpool community, even in the football community in general. It's been getting pretty toxic out there, and maybe rightfully so in some portions, but also unfortunately so in others. So we're gonna break up a little, monotony, and definitely get into a conversation with you out there. Hopefully, you'll engage in the chat. If not, if you're watching this on replay, definitely engage with me in the comment section, and I'll be sure to get back to you. But ultimately, um, a lot to talk about here. A lot to talk about here, because we have a lot of things going on. So before we even get into tactics, before we get into the transfer news that I have on the dockets, we need to address the reality of where Liverpool are right now. Shout out to John Conway. Big up to you. Big up to you. This is certainly to talk about proper Reds. John Conway is certainly one of them. Definitely proper Red. Supportive to others in our community, and definitely it is noticed and appreciated. So big up to John Conway. Um, we need to address the reality of where Liverpool are right now, like I said, because we're going into this FA Cup, and it's a big time clash with Manchester City, considering that we rarely, if ever, win at Manchester City. I think if the chat can put me on to the right statistic, um, I think the last time we won there was with Adrian. I think I'd have to double check on that one, but all the same, it's a long time ago, basically. Or no, last time we won there was actually with we won there with Klopp. He brought the team because I think we did a double on them, so I stand corrected. I think just off the top of my head. Um, but anyway, we're going into this FA Cup clash with Manchester City. This isn't just about quality. This isn't just about the sheer need of this victory over a vigorous foe. It's about availability. So I'll start this one with some big news. Alexander Isak is back in training after months out with a broken leg. He is actively training on the pitch. I think that's huge news. I don't expect for him to be a part of this upcoming matchup against City, in the sense of I don't see him starting this matchup, but I do see him possibly getting maybe a few minutes run in this game, maybe depending on how training goes, maybe even something closer towards the middle of April, maybe like a week, maybe that Fulham game or the PSG game, you'll see his participation more on the cusp. Um, but like I said, this is where nuance matters, because people hear he's back and he think he's going to start or he's going to save us, up top with bringing back some dynamic goals. And let me just put a real quick reality check on that one. No, okay, let's tamper down the expectations or the pressure that we're going to be putting on the player. Considering we all saw how much time it took for a player of his stature, by the way, to get back into form when when not injured, when he was simply the Newcastle to Liverpool transfer run, where we had to get him into up to speed with the team and with the Premier League. Um, I just don't see that automatically snapping right back into shape for him. But I'm sure he's eager to give it a try, and I'm sure he's eager to help us out. It's been a long time since we've seen the player. I was watching inside training today, and I was very spirited to see him chopping it up with EVD and and actively trying to get involved in training. So a player coming back from a 3 maybe even 4 month injury is never going to be the same player immediately, not physically, not rhythmically, not tactically. But what he does give you is a threat, is the wild card, or that joker in the deck that can be able to bring a bit of chaos or a bit of unexpectedness that maybe a team isn't prepared for. And Liverpool have been lacking that this season. So I'm very much looking forward to that. Um, Now, alongside of that positive news, more positive news is that Mohamed Salah is expected to be back as well. We saw him in the building, looked very high spirited. Again, this is all from just a training, inside training episode, and he looked, engaged and looked excited to be back. Didn't look like he was like, nursing any critical injury. Another name back in training is our Italian stallion, Federico Chiesa, back in training. And I love this detail from Slot. He said Slot basically told him, "I'll be ready." Those are his quote. "I'll be ready." I love the fact that Mohamed Salah is an absolute winner. He's a fighter, and he will always, always come correct in putting team first, which is fantastic to see. So again, it's elite mentality. That's why he's the Egyptian king. That's why he is who he is. Um, but we all got to obviously balance that out with reality, because obviously the absences mean this time away from getting that rhythm, getting that fitness all in the correct sense. And speaking of absences, there are some notable absences from this team, and this does matter immensely because these players are important. Allison Becker is certainly out. He will not be available for this game. Marmardashvili will have to step up, and I'm hoping and I'm believing that he can. So, Marmardashvili, looking forward to seeing you put this game under your bill. And Jeremy Frimpong. Now, the reports had him as an injury concern. Um, I know that today he was in training. He was in the workout room, in the gym. He was on the pitch. So, actively training too, by the way. So I know that the first thing about his absence from, or his exit from the game in with Holland, was the fact that it was reported as precautionary. Now, hearing that is at least good to know that it's not serious, or it's not an actual injury that he's going to have to a sustainable injury that's going to keep him out. However, knowing that it could be something that you don't want to tweak, you don't want to go too heavy, hardcore, with the intensity on from the very beginning, it makes you say, okay, this is still going to be a very big question mark to who starts for us at the right back. Um, Obviously, long-term absences are still missing from the list. Your Endos, Leone, who is going to be making a comeback as well, which is good to see and good to hear as well. But now you have to ask yourself this. And this is just you and I here. It's the one unique thing. I like the fact that I cherish these moments more so than maybe when this channel might get to higher levels of a forum, because right now I get to speak to some OGs, to some real proper Reds out there that want to engage in a conversation. And I'll ask you this question. Are Liverpool going into this game stronger or just less weakened? And what I mean by less weakened is, are they going into this somewhat? Remember, we lost that game at Brighton, got outplayed at the Amex. I know that the international break might have brought some amnesia for some. It might have cooled temperature for others, but my memory is long, and I do remember the fact that we did not play to the level that we're capable of at the Amex. And now, it's one thing to go to the Amex. It's another thing to go to the Etihad to play against one of the best coaches in the history of Premier League, to go against a formidable team in City, and one that is going to look to bring some type of silverware to their haul. They've already got one trophy in the bag. Now they're looking to try to put two. So I ask you this: are Liverpool going into this game stronger or just less weakened? It's a real serious question. Maybe a little bit intellectual of one, I understand. But, I know that we've got some big boys and big girls out there that know how to address and properly access the questions at hand. It is something. Let me see. Emery is asking, where do you think we will end up in the table at the end of the season? That's a very good question. I do have an episode that will be airing tomorrow. I'll make a point to do it tomorrow because I haven't gotten in touch with Zabiri, but I will try one more time. I'll just do one more effort to see if I can get him to be a part of the show. And because it was his asking for the show, and in this show, I have what I did a couple years ago, where I will bring out. It's called the Spreadsheet Show, and Spreadsheet Conspiracy. I don't know, whatever you want to call it. And basically, what that means is I will break down what we have to do, what other teams most likely could end up doing in with their current forms. And I know forms can change at all times, but all the same, at least give you an idea of the likelihood. Give percentages and the likes of, like, where it is. I'll give like breakdowns on the 6-point games that are between a lot of different teams in this run for top 4, if not top 5. And again, my target for this year, I'm not saying that we're going to get it or not get it. I'll leave that suspense for the episode tomorrow. But my target for this season is third place. Third place is my target for the season. We're obviously out of the title run, but my optimistic target is third place. But again, I'll show you where I think we'll end up, as opposed to where my heart wants us to end up, and also and see if it's the same or if not. The likes. But thank you for the question. It's a real getting back to what we were saying about some of these returns. I know that Salah is back, but I ask you really honestly, do you trust Salah to come back and immediately perform at an elite level? He says he's going to be ready. I know I trust him, but I know there's others that have put a lot of question on a player that normally produces elite level production. So I'm going to ask you, will he be ready for this FA Cup run? There's nothing more important. I mean, like, it's crazy because I know playing against City at the Etihad is like playing a final. And what I mean by that is it is high intensity and you're playing against a superior team, a absolutely elite team in the league. Elite coaching, elite resources. And historically, he does produce. But injuries can change variables, and I'm looking to see whether it does for us in this circumstance with Mohamed Salah. Oh man, it's a tough one. It's a tough one. Um, but absolutely, this is the level we want. Fully, you know, this is the and what I mean by the level we want is this is we've got the team, we've got the players back, we've got them structured and focused, and it's about getting everyone on the same page, and that's important. So I'm gonna get into this next little segment here, and it's called I'm calling it the Liverpool 12th Man Team Business Update. Okay, there's a lot of time to talk about team updates and stuff like that, and that's fantastic. But there's a lot more to football than just kicking the ball. There's the business end of it. A lot of people don't want to. I don't know. There are a lot of people out there that are possibly more football romantics than myself. And what I mean by that is there's those out there that romanticize the game, bring it back to romanticize the past, and speak about the business of sports as if it's never been a business in itself. It always goes. It goes long from being a game that we play as children to where we absolutely see billionaires and sheiks and oligarchs involved in the fabric that makes our game. And unfortunately for that, it can get a little messy at times. Um, but I'm calling this the business update because right now Liverpool Football Club is operating in two timelines, I think. And what I mean by that is one is where we see life on the pitch, like I spoke on, and we saw players returning, um, positive signs around Giovanni Leone, um, Salah returning, Isak returning, Frimpong not injured, or at least to the extent that was feared. But the other timeline is what's happening behind the scenes, and that one feel like a little countdown because this morning via Paul Joyce in the Athletic, we got something that was I don't want to call it explosive. I don't want to call it like groundbreaking news, but it was revealing. The question being asked internally is simple: are Liverpool going to stand by Arne Slot this summer? And I was asked this question on Copish, and my actual answer was yes. FSG will stand by Arne Slot. I am prepared for the worst and expect the best. And what I mean by that is I'm prepared for the worst in that Arne Slot does stay with this team because I am not happy with the football that he is producing, that he has structured this team into. I'm not happy with the players that he's let go. I'm not happy with the development of players that he's brought in. I'm not happy with the treatment of certain players that he's had the privilege of having on his team. It's a lot of unhappiness. But I do appreciate the fact that he brought us a Premier League title. I do appreciate the fact that um, that he is our coach, and I'm sure that he wants to succeed. So therefore, as the steward of our coach or of our team, I'm hoping and backing him until we turn the page on this chapter and go a different direction or continue on with him. But the answer I got from Paul Joyce was, it's not yes, but it's not no. And that's where it's going to be interesting if these runs that we have really determine whether he stays on or doesn't. What is the baseline for him to continue on with the team? Is it Champions League? Is it a deep run into Champions League? Is it a Champions League final win? Is it an FA Cup win? Is it a combination of the two? Those are two competitions that we have left, and we only have the top 5 running or top 4 running to make a difference. I do have a feeling that sometimes we get a little bit stuck on our emotions, especially in these forums that we keep. Here's where I think sometimes people can get things right and sometimes they can get it even wrong. And as fans are reacting emotionally, he's staying, he's gone, club's lost direction, when it can be a reality of both. And what I mean by both is exactly what Paul Joyce said. It's not yes, it's not no. It's what is going to be determined at the end of this campaign. This is a structured evaluation process. FSG's position is absolutely very clear to me, at least. They believe Slot is not the problem in isolation. You and I might think different, but FSG, the owners of this club, think that Slot is not the problem in isolation. They believe the context of the season matters. Something sometimes we don't do in conversations. And they believe, and this is key, if you fix the squad, Slot can fix the performances. And that tells you something very important about how Liverpool are trending, how they're thinking, how they're, going about their everyday business. Just the mentality and the physical constraints they're having in not pulling the trigger on sacking or going a different direction with the management. Basically, what I mean by that is they're not asking, is Slot good enough? They're not asking that question, and that's what a lot of us are saying. And trust me, I think that Slot is good enough. I know that's going to be clipped up. That could be absolutely taken the wrong direction. I can bring you context and say a manager does not back into a Premier League title. He is good enough to be a head coach. He's won in Holland, and now he's won in England. He is a capable coach. But they are asking, is this system properly built for him to succeed? And I think that's a completely different conversation. Completely different conversation. because historically this club does not make emotional decisions really when it comes to the hierarchy of it, the coaching. They don't make really emotional decisions. They're very calculated. You can look at how we pursued, for instance, Jurgen Klopp. We didn't react to results. We committed to a profile of a player, of a coach. And when that coach became available, we didn't balk at the idea or at the opportunity to bring Jurgen Klopp in. So I think that's a prime reason why, um, you know, Jurgen Klopp wasn't ready at the beginning of the season. He was still, taking a break from coaching, and we just could not bring in another coach despite us not believing in Brendan Rodgers any longer. We couldn't just bring in another coach and then say, okay, we're going to bring you in. And then and then possibly miss that window, that sliding door moment to bring in Jurgen Klopp. They didn't react to results. They committed to a profile. And what you're seeing now is that same model being applied again. But let's not sugarcoat it. This isn't unrest. Um, this isn't a feeling internally or externally. This is something that we're focusing on, a referendum. That this summer is going to be a referendum on what this team is going to be going forward. If this is the write-off year of it being a transition year, something that a lot of us had maybe set for last season, if this is the transition year, then the upcoming year can't be another year of transition. It's got to be dialed in. It's got to have a sense of identity, a sense of understanding what this team is about. We have to have some structure to a club that has no structure currently, in my opinion. Because you bring in the name everyone keeps throwing around. Let's just break it down because I've seen some articles about it. Xabi Alonso. Now externally, he's the guy. And when I mean externally, I mean the fan base, you, we're good with Xabi. Now, it's an interesting case because Xabi Alonso was my choice before he chose Real Madrid. And I'm not going off the performance that he had at Real Madrid to say that maybe I've cooled a bit on my uh, determination or my devout preference that Alonso is that coach. And let me just hear this. Just hear me out when I say this. The reason why I'm saying what I'm saying, and I see some of the comments in there. I'll get to these comments. Don't trust me. No, trust me. Excuse me. I will bring in that. Xabi Alonso is a proper red. He is someone that definitely has a real connection to the badge. I think where some of us have been spoiled, maybe, let's say, is that we had a coach that we absolutely made a connection with. We had a coach that was the, fist pumping at the end of games coach, um, the I would love to go out and have a beer with, coach, um, the, very relatable Jurgen Klopp. And it didn't hurt that gaffer was able to get results. Now, internally, it's not clear as to whether it is or is it not. I've seen reports from like actually the German publication The Bild, BILD, that we are we've already had talks with, and Xabi Alonso is to be our next coach, for instance. But this is where we go deeper than surface level takes, and this is what I mean by an honest conversation with someone that believes in not only researching but has a little bit of like expertise in some of the things that we speak on. And that is Alonso prefers a back three, but he's played with a back four. Liverpool are structurally built for a back four, obviously, but control of recruitment matters at this club. And that's something that is key. Now, I think what's unique about this conversation about Xabi Alonso is that it occurs at a time when Edwards and Hughes are up for renewal on their contracts. The reason why it's interesting is also because Alonso hopefully would not want to structure us around a back three, considering that we're structured to play with a back four. Shout out to my boy Cal. I know that he's very bullish on that. Heck, I play with sometimes I play with a 4-4-2 in my football manager career, and football or FM 26, which I'm on right now. And I play for 4-4-2. Sometimes I play with three backs. Sometimes I play with back three and two wing backs. But why we didn't go for Rumen, for instance, who was technically pursued, is exactly one, I think, a major reason why being connected to, we wouldn't want to go to a back three. System compatibility matters more than hype. And then you zoom out even further, because what happens at Liverpool is connected to what happens at Manchester City, I believe. If Pep Guardiola stays, then that blocks one pathway towards a prominent position. If he leaves, the entire managerial market shifts. I'm sure Alonso's camp is looking at that. I know that Maresca is a name out there that's being linked to Manchester City. But we all know that it's not a matter of guessing games when it comes to the inner talks of these sports groups, or even the managerial groups, the players. They all map out where they want to be. They all map out what's going to be in front of them. And I'll be honest with you, if you ask me, I probably would have gone interim already. I would have already had Steven Gerrard in as our manager. I think that we could have possibly, I would have most likely have done it over this international break, so that he could have gotten to the facility. He could have gotten his stuff all moved into the actual office, and he could have, I believe, given a real emotional boost. Because I think that a lot of what we're missing isn't necessarily just tactics. I think it's confidence. I think this team needs a psychological reset, but that doesn't mean the club sees it that way. And then obviously they didn't. They didn't give me a call, and also because they didn't make that move. Because behind the scenes they've already been doing their homework, I'm sure. Um, I've heard Sebastian Hoeneß is a name out there, and even Seth Fabregas is a name that's been circling around. I don't know how you feel about Seth Fabregas. I know that he's been performing well. He's a new coach, obviously a former great, but Chelsea former great, but might say Arsenal, but Chelsea. Um, but these aren't random names. I don't think they're profile matches. And this is where it gets even more serious, I think, because it's not just the manager, it's the structure. Richard Hughes linked away. Michael Edwards is uncertain. And especially with the sheer fact that Michael Edwards was brought to this club to manage the multi-team um, the multi-team effort or multi-team system that didn't end up happening. You've got to ask yourself, are Liverpool about to change manager and sporting director in the same summer? Because if the answer is yes, that's not a rebuild, that's a reset. For a team that won the Premier League, that went deep into Champions League, that went to a Caribou Cup final, that would be an absolute reset 2 years later, or going into the second year of a campaign since that date. It is a question, though. It's a very good question. All right. So let's get into what everybody wants to really talk about, and that is transfers. Um, because while the club is figuring out itself structurally, like as I spoke on, the market is certainly pretty. I would say volatile. Maybe I don't know. It's already moving. Basically, is what I'm trying to say. And therefore in a very dangerous position right now because I was watching the Steven Gerrard. It's not the overlap. I don't think it's called the overlap. I forget what it's called now. Um, I forget what it's called. It's the piece where Neville and Keane, um, Wright and Kara are on there, and they have also a female host as well, former player as well. But anyway, I was watching that just recently. I was watching this morning, and some of the answers that Steven gave were pretty much damning to Arne Slot's position right now, um, but also pretty revealing from his takes. He's someone that's very connected to the team in the sense of being a great and being someone that obviously wants to be helpful in any way he can. And he's a fan, and he's a loyal patron and servant to the club. Um, and even he said that you got of a lot of work to do is basically in essence what he said. A lot of fixing up to do. And again, why I say dangerous position is because it's not because they lack targets, meaning Liverpool have plenty of available targets to take care of maybe some of the question marks we have, but because they need to get these decisions right after spending 450 million, spending um, uh, selling in excess of about 220 million or something, over 200 million in players. Obviously, surplus of around I think it was like 200, 220, 230 million was basically the net spend, if you want to call it that, for easy terms. But because we need to get this right, it makes these decisions huge. And I'll talk to you right now. There is a name out there that's gotten a lot of circulation. It eased and cooled off a little bit. I know Manchester United are still in negotiations or talks in trying to get involved in getting this player in, possibly. Yan Diomande, RB Leipzig want to keep him. He does not have a release clause, by the way. And the real number that they're looking at for this player is that they will consider offers when you make their evaluation of 100 million euros. The market is wild these days, people. Wild. But the real question, and this is where I want people to think, I want you to hopefully engage with me out there. Again, if you're watching this on replay, answer me in the comment section if necessary. If you don't want to answer in the comment section or the chat right now, then you can put you can think about it. Maybe put a question or answer to me in the comment section later on too. But I'll ask you: are Liverpool buying a bona fide player, or are we about to buy a potential star of a player? And what I mean by that is he weighed and measured and is the real deal? Or are we just about to put some 100 million euro wager or 80 million pound wager on a player where we have our fingers crossed, we're hoping that he works out for us? Because RB Leipzig is a good team, but let's keep it 100. Diomande is a gamble. And as much as I want to say it's an educated gamble, because they've obviously put in the work of scouting the player and putting in the effort to bring about a real calculated move for the player, it's still a gamble. And if this gamble is tied to evolving beyond Mohamed Salah, then you're not replacing a player. You're redefining a role. Big up, JK. How are you doing?
All good, bro. What you saying?
Just getting into a little bit about.
I like the background, man. It looks really nice.
Oh, yeah. I tried to. I've been going with the red lately, and I'm like, oh, if I have this red background behind me, I might as well make the green so it pops.
Yeah. Sorry, bro. Let's not bring down to alone sheet.
I'm gonna bring it over. I'll bring us over here actually, so we can see the lads. There you go.
There you go.
I'm just talking about this Diomande situation, and they're talking about 100 million euro evaluation for the player. Are you ready for that? Are you ready to drop 80 million pounds for a player that hasn't kicked the ball in the Premier League?
Well, nor did Florian Wirtz, you know what I mean, bro? So,
do you rate?
It's a bit pricey for
me. Wait. Yeah, let me say this. I'm gonna say, you rate Diomande at the same level that you rated Florian Wirtz?
No.
Okay.
Florian Wirtz for me is
okay.
Height, you know. No, I just feel the the price wise on players nowadays is salt and pepper time, isn't it? Like Diomande back in the days will cost you 30 million. Like when you look at Salah, Mane, Bobby, cost a combined 100 million. This dude's costing us a single million for him, just him. Is a bit crazy, you know?
It is.
Is he good or is he good or is he 100 million good? There's a difference, you know what I mean?
Agreed. Agreed. And where do you lie on that?
I haven't seen enough of him to say, you know what, yeah, he's the guy. I like him. I think he's a good player. And salt and pepper, they're pushing it, and everyone seems to be pushing it because the summer's going to come quick time, bro. The season finishes in 8, 6, 7 weeks, is it? Approx.
Wait, what did you say? Salt and pepper?
Yeah, salt and pepper. Like, is that time? You know what I mean?
Okay. I didn't know if you meant salt and pepper like the hip hop group or something. That's why I make sure.
Yeah, push it.
Say, this is push it, right? I got you.
Yeah, salt and pepper were big though, weren't they?
Yeah.
But I like Sisters with Voices, and they did like a little studio. They did this little studio take. I'll send you the link on it, bro. It's really nice. They're like really chilled. You can check it out. But for me, Diomande is a bit pricey for me. But hey, we need a winger. That's the thing. Actually, we need a couple of wingers when you really think about it, because Salah's leaving. Gakpo, not so great. We got Rio coming through, and that's it. Chiesa, if you want to add someone else, but hey.
I mean, I'm going to keep myself as clear as possible, and because I want to say this properly with respect as well. But we cannot replace Salah. I don't want to sound like Pep Guardiola and start like, you know, I'm not trying to cry and say he's irreplaceable. But you evolve the system beyond what you needed from Salah. That's my point. And what I mean by we have to evolve the system beyond the dependence of a Salah, in essence. As the three arrows slowly but surely were replaced or factored out, we ended up relying a little bit more and more and more every season on Salah. And now, if we're going to take out that major component, which is Salah, we have to evolve the system into something that doesn't necessarily have to say, oh, we're going to ask for 20, 30 goals to be, on the backs of whoever we put in his place. It'll mean let's get more involved, get our forwards more involved in scoring. Let's get our midfield maybe more involved in scoring, because that's a completely different level of planning. And I also wanted to address the one I know is going to split the room. This is a name that I heard. I think it was on Anfield Index. I want to say. I think they brought this up because they have a doctor that he's like this. He's a doctor, but not like a medical doctor. He's like a stat doctor. I don't know. He's a doctorate in something. And he comes on and he was talking and he's breaking down these numbers and statistics, and he was giving us his top 4, I want to say top 5 players or something along those lines. And although he didn't have this guy in the top 3, he still had him in 4th. Okay. And that is the Olympic diver, Mr. Anthony Gordon. And apparently Newcastle won 100 million euros for him. Liverpool apparently have interest in bringing the Scouser back to Merseyside and bringing him back to this side, the red side of Merseyside. Obviously, I'm going to say this as clearly as possible. That is going to be a very difficult pill to swallow if we go down that route for me. because I do not only do I not rate Anthony Gordon, I just don't like Anthony Gordon. I'm going to be transparent as possible. I just don't like Anthony Gordon. I don't know him personally, but I just don't like the interactions that I've had, or that we've had, I should say, as a team with Anthony Gordon, whether it was with Everton and even today with Newcastle. He has done some pretty low budget antics against us and the likes. Yeah, I know. I know. Let me tell you what I really think about Anthony Gordon. Let me tell you. So again, I don't think he's a bad player, but because we're talking about, like for instance, I'll ask you, JK, who would you rather have? Would you rather have Diomande at 80 million or 100 million euros? I think it's about 80 million, right? It's about 80 million pounds, right?
Yeah.
So would you rather have Diomande at 80 million pounds, or would you rather have Anthony Gordon at 80 million pounds?
I'll tell you the truth.
You're going to say something that's going to make me mad. Go ahead.
I like diving, Olympic diving. I'm going to go with that one. I like Gordon, bro. I think he's a good little player. He's a good player.
Okay.
You and Lee are not big fans. I know that. Lee's not a big fan.
No, not at
but
all.
ball wise, I think he's a good little player. I think his dream is to play for Liverpool. He's probably thinking we've treated him wrong or whatever it is. But maybe the energy he shows is to get a move to Liverpool. That's his dream. Come on, we're the biggest club in England. He wants to play for us. I don't know what he's doing, fouling all our players and getting red cards.
Yeah, exactly,
maybe he's trying to help us out. But maybe he's trying to think, if I get sent off, they've got only going to play against 10 men, so I'm doing them a favour anyway. But that tackle on Van Dijk and that tackle by Van de Ven on Isak, and them two guys want to play for us? Get out of here.
No, I was going to say, how about the fact that he tried to take out Trent Alexander-Arnold when he was with Newcastle?
Mm-hmm.
When Trent Alexander-Arnold was trying to get up and get back into the play, he tripped him.
I don't know, bro.
Oh, big up K-Mac.
He's a character.
Yeah, big up K-Mac.
And King Reader, John.
Yeah. Big up K-Mac in the house. Most likely, I saw the numbers go up dramatically, so I'm sure maybe it was a shout out to K-Mac. I believe I would assume, because K-Mac's a very, very cool red that will do things like, direct his audience over to our side of it. So big up. Okay, sounds good, K-Mac. The invitation's always open. But what I was going to say is interesting comments and interesting K-Mac, before you do go, tell me, 80 million pounds in the coffers or in the war chest. Do you go for Diomande or do you go for Anthony Gordon? Just before you go, hopefully you're still with us, K-Mac. Who do you go for? Do you go for Gordon or do you go for Diomande? I'm not. Hopefully he's still with us. I'm not certain. I know he says he's got to go. So, Real Red Armchair Supporter says, "Oh wait, 100 for Gordon." Yeah, laughing out loud. Okay. Lone Sheep says he prefers Gordon to Yan. He says it's a step up for Gakpo and Prem Proven. King Vader says Diomande, definitely. Let's see. He says Yan is good from what he's seen, but he's not proven. Gordon also played with Isak. Maybe that could help as well. That's a good point. That's a very good point. Diomande is quick. He is quick, by the way. He's definitely got pace behind him. So I bringing in Diomande would bring in some pace. It would bring in some it would bring in youth to our team as well. Players that definitely have a little bit of a more upside on progressing and getting better and to experience the system the way we need to experience it. We have a need to get more homegrown players, but does it really have to be Gordon? That's a good question. That's a very good question. I know. For myself, I'm thinking the same thing. Let's see. John's saying Gordon would work, I think he means, or Gordon would war. And it is a big question. I don't know. I think if you're dropping 80 million, I understand we need the homegrown. I understand that completely, but like Liverpool M3 is saying, Diomande can play both wings. Maybe someone might push back and say, well, Gordon can play both the wing and can play technically a striker/forward position. How well, that's another story. That's just it. I'd love if I had the ability to put a poll in the chat, I would right now, but unfortunately I don't. So I'll just move on to another player that I want to definitely get into our conversation before we move on to some other topics that I have on today's show, and that is let's talk about the one that actually matters. I think even more than Diomande or even Gordon joining our team, and that is Konaté. Ibu. There's been no breakthrough. Talks are ongoing. We've heard plenty of times of saying this is the land, and this is the line in the sand. This is the line in the sand. This is the line in the sand, and it keeps getting pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed down the block. And this is where fans need to understand negotiation dynamics. And I know that as someone who's been a player agent. Actually, I just spoke to one of my former players a couple of days ago. Konaté wants value. Liverpool want control of the circumstances. They want to be able to control the environment with the price and what the pay structure will be and the likes. But Konaté wants value. And somewhere in the middle, that deal either happens or we see another player leave on a free. And here's the twist for it all. There are sources that say he's more likely to stay than leave. If that makes you a little bit more, I don't know, positive. Despite no progress, it's looking like he is more likely to stay than leave. And I think that with that thought, maybe we allow for the process to play out. I know it's a gamble, but I don't think that his intentions are similar to that of, let's say, a Trent Alexander-Arnold, who I believe had the thoughts of leaving the entire time. I think Ibu has thoughts of staying. The dressing room matters, people, because when you've got Virgil van Dijk putting his arm around you, that's influence money can't buy. And when it comes to, and this is just my little 2 cents, I'd say, when it comes to elite center backs, they are possibly more difficult to find elite center backs than it is to find elite forwards. I'm going to say that again. Elite center halves are more difficult to find than elite forwards. If you think elsewise, I'd love to hear your opinion. But I happen to think they are the hardest profile to replace in modern football. They don't just defend, they stabilize your entire system. That's why when I hear the talks about, Salah being at this table, this metaphoric table for Liverpool, and the fact that Virgil van Dijk or even Ali aren't at that table with Mohamed Salah, I'm saying I am really, really laughing and or I'm really, really laughing at the thought of that. I'm saying in my head, I'm saying, are you having a laugh? Because Virgil van Dijk is one of the cornerstones of why we were able to get any trophy over the line. Shout out to Fam Zone making a second appearance. Big up. Hopefully, we can chop it up sometime. You can join the show maybe, or vice versa, or something, or do something on a collective. We need to sign him up. We can't keep losing our players on the free. He's had a bad season, but under the right coaching, he can get back to his best. All right. I believe he's talking about Konaté, I believe. Ibu gave an interview the other day, and he spoke about winning in future. It sounded like he might stay. Yup, Red Armchair supporter, spot on with that. Let's see. Big up to Dara, by the way. Big up. Red Armchair supporter says, "Fam, you could be right there. A new coach might rejuvenate a lot of the players." I agree with that too. It could be I think that was something of a factor in why what I've called a Jurgen Klopp team. I have called it a Jurgen Klopp team, but it was a Jurgen Klopp team with a fresh voice that maybe gave them a little bit of like a little bit more inspiration, or a little bit more like not hearing the same rah story. That created a little bit of a pep in their step to get them through the season last year. But Arsenal don't seem to have a problem finding center backs. Yeah, you could say that. You could say that. I don't know if I don't know. I mean, I don't know if I would say that. I don't know. I don't want to get myself in trouble, I guess. I don't want to get myself in trouble. I'll have to think about my thought before I speak it out loud. But even so, I think that you can count on your hand elite center halves comparative to elite forwards, for instance. And I'm talking about forwards being right wingers, strikers, left wingers, left inside forwards, right inside forwards, and the likes and the likes of the such. I think you can definitely find more offensive players than you can defensive players that are elite status. But then again, like I said, I think if we lose Konaté, you're not replacing a player, you're replacing someone that stabilizes the structure of our team, and it's important that we get him signed. There is someone out there. I want to hear this. I want to hear your opinions on this, people out there in the chat. JK had to step out for a second. But I do want to hear your opinion on this. And this is a player, and it's a shame that that JK is not a part of the conversation on this one, because this is a player I believe he rates. Now, I'm going to talk about some smart recruitment, and the smart recruitment I'm thinking is that there have been talks that we are in for Archie Gray. He is a talent. He fits our profile. I know there's been some verified, some unverified links to the player. But how would you feel about that? Would that get you that spark your interest for a promising future talent for our team? There's been talks about a Monaco pipeline, because this is very important as well. The name's a little hard for me to say, but Vanderson Aklioche, I think it's spelled or pronounced. And Lamine Camara is the name that we're looking at. Camera, excuse me. At us, on a usual level, then yeah, I'd take him. He's a Red Armchair supporter saying he's only seen Gray a couple of times, but he's been impressive each time. I agree with that. That's why I'm very interested in that. Very interested in that. I'll put it this way: would you rather have Wilson from Fulham, or would you rather have Gray? Red Armchair supporter, or any out in the chat, if you guys want to weigh on those two players. I think they're very comparable players in what they offer going forward. I know with Lamine Camara, it's a very data-driven profile that's been set for that player. He's got some elite defensive metrics. He's progressive passing. He's got tactical intelligence, football IQ, and the key detail most people might put to the side, but also it's important as long as he is our coach. He's already been evaluated, apparently. And apparently, Kamara was vetoed by Slot as a player to bring in. It's when I heard that, I was like, that's interesting to hear. That is interesting to hear. This other player I've heard is a player that I like. Now, I know that there has been reports about Adam Morton possibly being a target, which is fantastic. I have no complaints if Adam Morton is a player that's brought in. He's a player, obviously, that answers the homegrown thing. Obviously, it's something that we could do and everything else. Nico Williams, it's a name out there. I hear you, Lone Sheep. I haven't heard it as being a realistic candidate, by the way. At least the reports I've seen haven't really been hot to trot for Nico Williams being a player, but he has been on the list, on some people's list. I have seen him, but he tends to be further down on the list of being real possibilities. But what I'm talking about is DM, the role that everyone that I know that congregates on this channel that often interacts with me, whether it's Norm, whether it is Lee or Nalante, they all tend to say that we need a DM, and we need another DM. Often when we get into the conversations, when they're not fighting me on whether Gravenberch is a comparable, if not good DM, they are often saying we need a DM, a destroyer. Okay. I even saw Cal with his friend from Bayern Space or Bayern Munich fan saying how we need a DM. We need a DM. And they're surprised we don't have a DM. Well, apparently Eduardo Camavinga is not just speculation anymore. It is apparently we are positioning ourselves for a real attempt in bringing the player to Liverpool. This is what I just said, and this is what I'm standing by. Real Madrid may sell, because what's good for this conversation, if you're about this badge, is that PSG have reportedly stepped back from negotiations, have stepped back from pursuit, I should say, of the player. And Liverpool are actively watching. Now, huge difference is if Champions League qualification is secured, then that could be a more probable likelihood. If we don't make Champions League, Camavinga is not coming to Liverpool. It's that simple. But if we make Champions League, or if we win Champions League, I wouldn't be surprised if this becomes real. Because this isn't a gamble. This would be a statement signing. This would be a proven player at an elite level. And a player, despite the injuries, I get that. Some people have concerns with the injuries, but it seems like it's a growing concern for everyone. I don't think that Camavinga is a gamble. I think that a pivot with Ryan and Eduardo, with Grav and Cam, would be a dynamic duo in the pivot. Fam Zone says he would need. Fam Zone thinks that we need in his opinion, we need a big presence in the middle of the park. He would love to sign Onana from Villa. It is a question of where does this leave Liverpool? I mean, look, we've got uncertainty at the right back. We got a player in Frimpong that is. I saw a statistic yesterday that hurt my feelings, and that was the fact that Frimpong has played 26 games. I believe, I'm hoping getting this right. He's played 26 games. He has missed 25. It might be the vice versa, but it doesn't matter. That's basically, he's missed half of the season. And none of us want to see Dom playing right back. None of us want to see Curtis playing right back. We don't have the luxury of those things any longer. We don't have even and there is still the fragility of Gomez even playing right back for us. And Connor Bradley, even more so, I know. Shout out to Red Armchair Supporter. That is absolutely spot on. Now, I'm very, very frustrated with Connor Bradley, because I actually rate Connor Bradley. I think he's a comparable right back. He's more of a right back than any player that we have currently on this team, I think.
Yeah, he's a traditional right back. If you're going to look at a right back, you know what I mean? He's the old school Sunday league, made it into the big time, and plays that type of football. And I like that in my right backs. I think Trent sort of thingied the game, didn't he? Of right backs. He changed the game, Trent, for me. Yeah. Of how right backs are nowadays. Look at Frimpong. He's more viewed not even as a right back no more. He's viewed as a right winger, you know what I mean? I know he's not really fit, Frimpong. Bradley, I seen today in a video training, doing weights. So that was good to see. So he'll have the summer off because Ireland didn't get to the World Cup. So we'll have enough time to recover.
Mhm. Wait, who are you speaking of? Oh, North Ireland. Yes,
yeah, Northern Ireland, yeah.
Yeah, you said when you said Ireland, it threw me off. That's why.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. You gotta definitely say Northern Ireland because that is a touchy subject. It's a touchy subject. But I was gonna say, is keeping Konaté more important than signing a new attacker, in your opinion, JK?
For me, it's like this, bro. If Konaté wants to stay, I only want the guy who concentrates. But I think if he stays, you're going to get a better Konaté. Why? There's no distractions of a move to Madrid, Barcelona, Bayern, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So you'll get a more concentrated Konaté.
Mm-hmm.
Konaté on his day is one of the best. He's very good. But on one of his worst days, bro, he's the worst. So
right. Focus is tough, but I believe he definitely stabilizes our system. I think I just think that you can upgrade on possibly other players. I don't know if there's a comparable upgrade that's available on the market available. I know Schlotterbeck is a player that people rate. He's not available. He's still technically a Dortmund player and someone that could re-sign with them. He could opt out, but he's still got another year with them at least. Bastoni is a player that I like, but I mean, I don't know if Bastoni is going to be leaving Italy. We know how difficult it is for players to leave Italy, and some people don't really rate Bastoni the way that I do, simply because they don't think that he could play in a 2-back system as opposed to he's only good in a 3-back system for some people in their minds. And then you get into a case where maybe we're going to put the trust in the young guns that we've just signed. Actually, another young center half to this team. I think we now have 4 center halves that we just signed to our youth academy team, basically, or not youth academy, but like 2 to the youth academy and 2 to our senior squad, being Leone and Jeremy Jacquet. Yeah. A bird in the hand is worth 2 in the bush, definitely so. That's a question. Yeah, you can even go as far as to say this: what signing? I'll ask this to the chat since JK is taking a minute to get situated. To the chat, what signing changes Liverpool more? And these are the choices. I know you'll give me another one, I'm sure, but these are the only choices. If you had only these choices to choose from, resigning Konaté, signing a new signing in Camavinga, or a new right winger. And that could be Diomande, that could be Gordon for some of those people that like Gordon, even though he plays left, but still the same. Maybe that pushes Rio to the right side and you play Gordon on the left. Which one of those 3, though? Resigning Konaté, signing Camavinga, or signing a new right winger? Which one of those 3 things changes Liverpool more for the good?
I would say we need all 3, but if I had to pick one,
You
I
have
would
to
say
pick one. None of that stuff.
because God, we need a centre back. We need a centre back. DM. We need a winger.
Yeah.
It's like
I know we need all 3.
Last summer.
That's why the question's difficult. That's why I'm asking.
No, yeah, for me, Konaté.
I'm asking my fast and furious out there.
For me, Konaté.
Oh, I wasn't expecting that.
You know why? Because I realise we're going to be in a bit of a pickle if we do not sort our centre back situations out. Because take Konaté out of the picture, Leone, we don't know where he's at. I know he's been around the training ground this week. Good to see. And then you got the other lad, Jacques, and we don't know where he's going to be at. So realistically, bro, then we have Gomez, of course. Konaté is a guy who, for me, if we have to get another centre back, it's going to cost us big dough as well. So signing Konaté could be a best move out of all of them.
I wasn't expecting. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But for me, definitely need a DM. I've always said that. DM, winger, centre back. And that's what we needed more. I think if we got them 3 signings done, a winger, a centre back, and a DM in the summer we just had where we spent big, it would have been the best ever transfer window of all time. We were just lacking them 3 sort of positions. Yeah.
Red Interest Supporter says a new fast right winger for him. Dragon went with the same answer that you want, which was we need all 3. I get that, but you have to make it, what is it? The marry, kill, whatever, the start bench, start bench transfer or drop type situation. You have to pick one of them. You can only pick one. Which would you do? Lone Sheep says we have no depth at center back position. Barcola is a name out there. He has not signed with PSG. He's still out there. And there's only 3. If Olise is on there, then it makes it a little bit different story. But there's only 3. I was saying Diomande, since we had spoken about Diomande as being a real option for us, being out there. Kiss, marry, avoid. Yeah. Yeah, something like that. Let's see. There are some positives from what I've been speaking on. KK from PSG would be a fantastic acquisition. There was talks. I saw I read an interesting comment from him saying something to the lines of, if he hadn't chosen to go to PSG and was to go to the Premier League, Liverpool would have been the team that he would have preferred to go to. So that was a brilliant comment that made me say, shoot, if he becomes available again, I think that Liverpool should definitely heavily get involved in bringing him to this team. I think he plays with spirit. I think he plays with intensity. I think he plays with obviously talent and structure to his game. I'd love to see a player like that with the team. Definitely so.
I realise when I've looked out for the PSG lineups over the last weeks and months or whatever, he hasn't been starting all the games. He's been on the subs bench quite a lot as well. What's that guy's name? Barcola and Doué. They've been starting more. Doué has anyway. So I like him. He's a good player. This Crava lad, good player.
I think he's a very, very talented player. Very talented. I like him because he brings energy to the pitch. He's got a little bit of chaos in him. I am a little bit of a chaos merchant when it comes to that. FamZone has asked. I might be lagging a little bit because I just opened up another.
Bless up, FamZone.
FamZone asked, "How would you feel?" Let me close this because I can see it's already making my thing lag. He says, how would you feel going into the new season if we signed Diomande, Wharton, and Konaté to a new contract? I'll go one better. I would feel great. I'd be confident. I'd be happy. I'd be on board. But I would feel even better if we signed KK, Camavinga, and Konaté. I'd be on that. I'd be on that tip if we were able to do that. That would be even a more dynamic summer for me. But Diomande, Wharton, obviously, two very, 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 very good players in my opinion.
Yeah, I'd go Elise, Wharton, Konaté.
Oh, of course, yeah. All right.
I think because
now we're going for like dream situations.
If the only reason I'm saying Konaté now is because I just feel if he does sign, then his messing up antics will be out of the game. He'll be concentrated more. So I'm giving him a chance there. That list is sound as well, but Caicedo is not a real good player, man. I think he's quality.
Yeah, he's a quality player, but he's not coming. His contract's like ridiculous.
No, he'd never leave Chelsea. He picked the wrong team. He ain't going to win nothing there, really. He won that Club World Cup, whatever.
Yeah, I hope he never wins Chelsea, especially with the back and forth that we had with the player. King Vader says we need a right back more than people know. That could be. It's a weird situation because considering we lost obviously Trent Alexander-Arnold, and that was huge. Don't get it twisted, right? Losing a dynamic player that was a major component of our system was huge. But I remember there were times when people were like, "Oh, get rid of Trent." When we had Trent, because we have Connor Bradley.
Yeah,
I remember people,
come on,
silly talk, and I'm just like, whatever with you, okay?
Yeah, that's so ridiculous.
But you're right. We do possibly need a right back in a position where we technically have 3 right backs on the books. One that doesn't even get a sniff of the pitch, and that's Ramsey.
So one that is
Curtis Jones.
To like Curtis Jones. You know what I mean? Who else is there? Come on, you got Ramsey there.
This guy trying to trigger me.
You got Ramsey there twiddling his thumbs. Frimpong never fit, and Conor Bradley, I feel sorry for him. He just kicked that ball wrong anyway. That day he got injured. It wasn't right the way he kicked the ball out, and hence he got injured. That was just weird. He didn't even need to touch it. To tell you the truth, he should have just let it run out.
Yeah, he didn't have to really. But in his mind, he's thinking just like you said, more like a traditional right back. Get it out of play. Just go for just make sure you follow through. You don't allow for maybe it to take a weird bounce or for the player to have even the opportunity to get to it maybe or something along those lines. You just make sure that you put it where you want it to be, and that's out of bounds. And unfortunately, you're right. The way he had to contort his body to kick that ball, it was bad. It was really bad, and I still am angry at Martinelli scored for Brazil this week, but yeah, the crap that Martinelli was doing was low budget.
Yeah.
Low budget.
Trying to get him up and stuff, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that was just low budget. All right. I have a segment that I'm sure is going to trigger some people. And let's address the elephant in the room, and that elephant is Arne Slot. La. The conversation has definitely shifted. It's no longer how is Liverpool playing. It's whether Slot should still be the manager of this team. I know we spoke a little bit about it before, but I'm going to speak about it again. Here's the truth. The situation is more complex than fans want it to be, because internally he still has support from the FSG, from Richard Hughes, from Michael Edwards. He's faced a difficult season. The squad isn't fully aligned, and the context matters, like I said before. But here's the pressure point. If Liverpool go out of the FA Cup, is that another? Do they use another excuse of, oh, well, it's context because we're dealing with injuries, just as you said earlier, and others have pointed out, we don't have, we're light on the right back position. We have this, elephant in the room being that we're going to be, Salah's just announced that he's leaving the team at the end of the season. We're just getting back a couple of players, but they're not nearly fit enough to play. And we're about to go to a place that we rarely win at. So we go out in the Champions League, or if we slip further in the league, does that support become conditional? And all of us we've spoken on, we've talked about the name everyone keeps throwing around, Xabi Alonso. And I'm going to challenge this narrative because I'll ask you, why do you believe he's the solution? Is it because he's a former player? Is it because fans feel emotionally connected to him? Or is it because he actually is the best structural fit for this team? Which could be a combination of all those things. I saw an article or a piece. He was on TalkSport, and he did a piece for a publication. I forget the name of the publication, but John Barnes came out and said he failed at Real Madrid, but managers need time, and fans are fickle.
Yeah,
that's John Barnes saying it, not me. That's John Barnes, Liverpool legend. And I will put a underline, bold print, Liverpool legend, ambassador for the team. And I think he's right. Because what happens if Alonso comes in and struggles early? Or we don't automatically reset and hit the ground running the way that Arne Slot did with Jurgen's team. And I'm calling it that. People have a problem with it, they can come at me for another reason or at another time.
Yeah, but if Alonso wins the Premier League next season, if he comes in, that's Arnie's team.
I know.
That comedy will come out. Look, bro, at the end of the day.
I'll take that, by the way. I'll take that all day.
Look, if Arne Slot needs to realise now what's going on in the next 2 weeks. It's the end all of everything. It's now or never for him. He needs to realise we've got a big game Saturday. So that's tomorrow for me. Early kickoff. And then Wednesday. Wednesday, what's that, like 3 a.m? Yeah, so he needs to realise. So who am I going to blame if we cock this up? Because I've been adamant that we need to change, in this international break, we need to change our manager. Because this guy is too slow. He's too slow for me. He don't use his initiative enough for me as a manager. He don't put his gears up in the first half and think, you know what, let's get the job done early so I can rest on some of our players. So his whole equation of football is not Liverpool. And now we've kept him. If we mess it up, I said we should have got someone to replace Slot for these games coming up. And
I've already said the same. I said the same. We should have had an interim coach already.
We should have. As soon as the international break came, bang.
That train's left the station. That train left that station.
So he needs to realise it's now or never. Us fans have been waiting for this couple of weeks coming up now, the whole season. The Premier League's a non-runner for me, so I haven't really been locked in that sort of fight. But the Champions League and FA Cup, 2 quarterfinals, bro. You know? So the players and the teams, look, when I look at the vibe of the Liverpool players on Inside Anfield and on the inside training videos on the YouTube Liverpool channel, the vibe is always boisterous, energetic, sound. But I never see Arne Slot getting involved with the players, sitting there having a laugh. What Jurgen might have done, you know what I mean? You only see Arne
That's why,
very.
remember, you saw the red Zen yesterday doing stuff like that. The whole holding the sign up saying Thiago, all I want is a selfie sign.
Yeah.
That's kind of the connection you want. This
With
kind
your
of
manager,
like, oh,
simple.
cool. That's your manager. That's your guy. That's part of our team. Yeah.
Well, for me, a person who can make other people laugh is a guy who's got a very clever mind. And people like comedians are very clever people. And Jurgen Klopp is a bit of a comedian. But like I told you about the Henderson story the other day, when Henderson asked about having training earlier on in the day, he got his answer from Klopp. He was like, oh, I wish I never asked him that. So, you know what I mean? The personality of a manager and a Liverpool manager has to be special. And I don't feel Arne Slot, he might have a special personality, but the problem is he cannot release it in this job because he's thinking, this is my number one first time I'm on the big scene here. I was at Feyenoord. It was a big scene, but not as big as this. I can't cock this up. So I'm going to portray a stern guy, a stiff guy, stubborn maybe, and show the players who's the boss here. And it's not really worked out for him because why? It's Liverpool Football Club. You're not at Man United here, bro. You got to look after the players.
Yeah, no. I mean, like, let me see. Let me put in somebody's statements by the chat here. He says, Long Sheep says, personally, I want him out. In reality, I have no power to change anything. If he stays, he stays. It's a wait and see thing for him. Regardless of what happens, something will give at some stage. Dragon says Hughes and Slot can walk and get in Klopp as sporting director and Nagelsmann as manager. Interesting perspective. Red Armchair supporter says he thinks Alonso would be given plenty of time, like Slot was. I unfortunately think that the giving a manager time most likely will happen. I do agree with that, but I also think that will that same time be given by fans? Possibly not. Possibly not.
Yeah, but if the manager's going in the right direction and the fans can see that, Liverpool fans especially, they'll be like, you know what, it's all right. But when the fans, like we all know, this Arne Slot guy isn't really doing it. So that's why now we're moaning. We haven't moaned.
Right. I think if he does what Klopp suggested, which was bring back entertaining football. If you can see, and I'm not saying he's Maximus, even though I have made I did make a thumbnail of Klopp as Maximus, but asking, are you not entertained? But I mean, realistically, if you can bring back football that has life, that has people engaged, people thinking, oh, if we can start to get rhythm, we can start to get some form together. This type of good football can result in good results. That's different. We've been playing, unfortunately, uninspired football lately, and it's nothing you can get behind. It's bad enough that we're losing the teams that we shouldn't be losing to. Makes it even worse. Famzone TV says, or Dean says, I'm hoping I can call you Dean. He loves Barnes, but Alonso didn't flop at Madrid. The players didn't warm to the standards he was trying to set. Statistically, he had one of the highest win percentages at Madrid as a Madrid manager. And that is statistically and factually correct. But where I can understand Barnesy's comment is this standard at Real Madrid is so incredibly high and such a difficult bar to keep, considering you're dealing with superstar egos. It is not an easy gambit to run. And
well, for me, look, it was Alonso. It wasn't no geezer who was selling some orange juice on a stand on the beach in Madrid or somewhere. You know what I mean? Where they said, "Oh, you want to be our manager?" It was bloody Alonso, bro. The guy who played for them. You know, top international, top player, and they treated him like that. For me, Liverpool are a different club to Real Madrid. Why? If we had the same sort of mentality as the Madrid players, Arne Slot would have been on his bike 6 months ago, bro. Let's be real now. The professionalism of our players hasn't got Arne the sack. Maybe on the pitch, yeah, but other than that, there's no. Even though Arne Slot gave the players a bit of a headache and sort of picked on them on that, the players had only Salah's really been boisterous about it against Slot. And fair play to him, you know what I mean? And that's why I will black Salah. But nah, I think the way Alonso was treated by Madrid, disgusting.
No, I get that. I get that. Alonso's been treated poorly. Alonso's treated pretty poorly. Got to put him through a raw deal out in Real Madrid. But then again, like I said, it's not easy settings. Real Madrid. If you can't cope with it, then that environment is not for you. Trent Alexander-Arnold, dynamically one of the best right backs I've seen in my lifetime, is struggling to get game time. It's resulting in him possibly missing out on World Cup because he's not getting enough playing time.
Yeah, he won't be playing in the World Cup. No way.
But he's at a big club like Real Madrid.
Yeah.
And the level that is expected from you, the production and the on the pitch and the likes is different. And I understand too the thing about the highest win percentage was one of the highest win percentages as a Madrid winner, as a Madrid manager. But losing the wrong games has impact. You could be a Real Madrid manager and win 80% of the time. But if you come up against Atletico Madrid and you come up against, or even especially Barcelona, and you end up losing, that has a heavy, heavy impact as if you're on a losing streak or in a losing form. And that's unfortunate. It's very simple. When we lost to Manchester United, some of us were saying that's sackable.
It was. He's had a lot of opportunities, even Forest game 3-0 at home, PSV 4-1. It's been a disaster. So this guy's had enough opportunities for us to sack him, you know. Yeah. But football's changed now. Look at Tudor. Went to Tottenham for a few weeks. He's already gone. They've got another guy in already, Zebra, you know. Oh, what's his name? Deserby. Yeah, Trent went to go and get a Ballon d'Or.
I was just responding to that to myself.
More like a bell on his door.
Yeah, there you go. I'll ask you real quick before we move on, because we're almost on 15 minutes outside of 2 hours on this show. Is Slot actually the problem, or is the squad the problem? What is out there in the chat? We've got about 40 people in the chat right now. What is it to you? Is Slot actually the problem, or is the squad the problem? And you can factor the squad being maybe the construction of the players. You could get the availability of the players. You could make it a combination of the two. Or is it Arne Slot tactically, emotionally connective to the fan base?
Look at Man United. Look at Man United, yeah? Almiron was there. And then until the point he was there, Almiron, we were taking the rip out of all them United players. And since Almiron's left and then Carrick came back in, an old boy, they've been on a winning streak. The players look better. They actually look better as a team. You know, so for me, it's Arne Slot.
I think, what's funny about that too, real quick, because I'm going to ask you a question about Alonso, but I want to just put in my 2 cents about what I believe about Carrick. Props to him for what he's done for United. Obviously I say I could care less. I mean, I don't mean it that way. I mean, I don't want them to do well. So it's not that I'm happy to see him do well or United to do well at all. But I think what was different about Carrick is that Carrick came into a team that was already out of the FA Cup, already out of the League Cup, not in Europe. And when he came back, he had a club that he could get 5-6 days worth of training every week in to condition them to play for one particular game that week.
Yeah.
As opposed to Amarin, who had those, who had to juggle playing in the FA Cup or playing in the League Cup or playing in, obviously, in the tournaments or in the competitions that he had. But
yeah. For me, Carrick had an easier number. Just concentrate on the league, one game a week, train all week. Actually give players probably time off as well. So they're ready for them games, you know what I mean? Hence why it's been a bit of an easier ride for him. But it could have gone pear-shaped as well. Look at Tudor. Tudor came in, and the only game he won was in the Champions League against Madrid.
That's a wild stat right there by Dragon. Carrick has not won a midweek game. Interesting.
Ooh, that's a good one. Nice one for that, Dragon. I like them sort of stats.
Yeah, that's a wild stat. I like it. King Vader says Slot is 99% the issue, but the players have let us down also. Biggest problem, FSG not firing this manager sooner. Okay.
I've always said that I can't blame Slot really for them last minute goals we've let in to let the opposition equalise or win the game even. I blame the players for that. But I blame Slot for the 89 minutes we had before that goal went in for them. Because of the pace he plays the game. You cannot.
Yep.
You can control a game of football playing 1 mile per hour, no problem. But what's going to happen is it's like thieves on a lookout. As soon as the lights go off, now's our chance. And that's what football's like. As soon as you turn your lights off, go first gear, bang. Opposition are thinking, we've got these guys. It don't work in that way.
Yeah, I agree. Agreed. Last question before I move on to this next subject. But last question is, do you believe that fans are chasing nostalgia rather than chasing a realistic fit with Alonso? Do you think that they're chasing the fact that he's played for our team, he's got a connection to our team? Are they chasing that more so than chasing a player or a manager that actually is a tactical fit for our club?
When you look at the standard of managers around nowadays, who is there? Who can you get? You know, it's all gone downhill, bro. Tottenham bought in Tudor. Like, come on, you know. So Alonso for me he was a top player, won a Bundesliga convincingly, brought out Wirtz and Frimpong to like improve them players. So all these things, bro, add up.
I just think the reason why I asked that question real quick is because emotional decisions can sometimes bring temporary success or temporary solutions. I think that's very similar to what Carrick is doing right now for Manchester United. He's bringing some temporary solutions to. I think that Carrick is the long-term solution provider for Manchester United. No, that's why if he gets the extension, more power to him, and cool. I don't think that is a sustainable situation. However, it rarely builds sustainable success, and that's why that's why I'm saying yes. I wouldn't mind Steven Gerrard, for instance, as a interim manager for us right now, because it could be an emotional boost, it could be temporary success. But do I think that Steven Gerrard is even if we got that success, if he got us a Champions League or he got us into those places, he would still be just that interim manager in my mind. He's not the manager for us to say, okay, now let's go forward with him as our long-term manager. He's just someone that gave us that boost of adrenaline to get us over the line. And now that we're here, let's bring in the real coach, or the coach that we're really going to put all of our chips behind. And that's what I would see it as. And it's similar. It's a good segue maybe to what the next subject is. And it's similar to why I say that. It's because we saw a manager this weekend return to the sidelines and give you that feel-good moment. Because this weekend, we were reminded of what it feels to be connected to the manager. It was felt a little bit closer to what Liverpool is supposed to feel like. King Kenny was there, of course. That's a connection to us all as well. But Jurgen Klopp was certainly the big name attraction on the sideline. And you could feel it, the connection, the energy, the identity.
Yep.
You could feel it. Klopp wasn't just a manager. He was a culture in this team. That's why sometimes when I hear the revisionary history thrown about on his name, it gets under my skin. I think this is important because right now, Liverpool feel like a team searching for identity again. And when fans saw Klopp with Kenny, with Ian Rush, that wasn't nostalgia. That was a reminder of standards, in my opinion.
Simple as. Simple as. When you looked at that bench, poof, you're like, oh, this is the royalty of Liverpool right there.
Yeah.
Everyone was there. Kenny, Rush, Klopp. Like, wow, and that's what I wish Arnie watched that game. It was on YouTube for free, so should have watched it. But just to see the vibe Klopp brought, when you look at Arne Slot sort of antics, he's sort of trying to get rid of any trace of Klopp at the club. But if he watched that video from Saturday, I really enjoyed Saturday's game. Even though it was 2-2, it was just fun to watch the vibe there, the fans, the manager, the players, and that's what Arne Slot's missing. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, agreed.
That should be your first job when you become a Liverpool manager. Connect to them fans. As soon as you get that done, you've got breathing space. He didn't realise that, I believe.
No, I think that, he was fortunate to results matter. And I think that he was able to, I guess, kind of ride the results, ride the wave of results from a team that had been seasoned into being able to get results, being seasoned into the difficult times of knowing what it takes to get over the hump. And it's wild. I just thought that, it made me question, have Liverpool lost their identity post Klopp, basically, because obviously identity is what carries teams through difficult periods, and we've had a bunch of difficult periods this season. It's a real question. And difficult period is this life after Salah. We have to confront reality. Mohamed Salah is leaving. I know that there's something that we don't want to talk about. I don't think people fully understand what that means at times, because this guy is irreplaceable. You don't replace him. You survive after. Now, I know the names being mentioned: Michael Olise, Jan Diomande, like you spoke earlier, even Anthony Gordon. But here's the truth. None of them are Salah. You can't go into this thinking, okay, we get Olise and then expect him to bring Salah numbers. That's just not going to happen. And where it gets interesting for me is Liverpool believe the answer might already be internal. I think that possibly Liverpool think that they already have a trio that can create. We've seen hints of it being thrown out there. Unfortunately, Van de Ven stopped that reality being a true reality for us, and that is my triumvirate that I've been speaking of has always been Florian Wirtz at the 10 and Hugo and Alex the Great. Hugo the Boss and Alex the Great up top. That's the trio I want to see. They've barely played together, but they could be the difference maker. And they could be the reason why we are able to bridge the absence of Salah into another emergence of identity for this team. So maybe this isn't about replacing Salah. Maybe this is more about redistributing his output. That's what I've been saying basically this entire time. And it's something that we need to definitely contemplate. I'll ask this before. I'm asked this before. This last segment I have is a tough one to kind of fathom, but can Liverpool replace Salah externally, or must it be eternal evolution? Do you think that we could possibly do what I just suggested, or do you think that it's best that we go out and try to find some £100 million player to replace Salah? Because that's what it'll take. What do you think, JK? It's a good.
Rio isn't going to do that right now. So internally, no. So we have to look elsewhere. Elise is my favorite out of the three. Him, Diomande, and Gordon.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll be with him. He'll be like my top priority to get him in. I think he's top draw. I like Anthony Gordon. I think he's a good player. He'll put a shift in for us 100%. Yeah. So the names being mentioned are sound, but no one's going to be ever as good as Salah. It's as simple as that. No matter how you look at it, you will never ever get a player with them numbers season in, season out. What a player. And I'm happy that he did it at our club, not at Chelsea, where he first went. So let's just appreciate him until now, until the end of the season. And if he can clock in 2 trophies before he goes, bro, that would just confirm everything we said about him. He's one of the greatest ever Liverpool players there ever been. So it's all down to you, Salah, bro. Come in, win them games for us now. City Saturday, and then PSG. Big games, bro. So he knows he's got big games coming up. I've seen some links today that Salah might go Real Madrid or Barcelona or something like that. But people are going to put 1-on-1 together and put 4. So
yeah,
I can't see Salah ever go to Real Madrid. No.
No.
Just can't see that happening. Too much drama's happened between us. Trent didn't give a damn. But Salah, I think he's a bit different.
Yeah. I'll tell you this. This is a good transition for it. Because I'll do a quick add up of this too, real quick. Hold on. Pull up a calculator so I can add up what it would be. Because there is a question. Basically, big up Eric, by the way. Big up. Hope you're well.
Bless Eric.
I guess it's an uncomfortable conversation that I'm about to bring up. And what I mean by uncomfortable is I'm constantly told that Liverpool are a buy to sell club. I think every club is pretty much a buy to sell club because that's what PSR is. That's what FFP was. As in you have to balance the books. If you don't, you end up having to do some of the things that we've seen teams like Chelsea do, which have now even become outlawed, actually, which is like, Chelsea has sold hotels and the likes to pay off their debts for the number of player acquisitions they had, or what is going on right now. Newcastle, for instance, is being called out. They're going to possibly face some type of sanctions or some type of penalty because what Newcastle did to try to get into that top 5 or top 6, big 6, conversation, excuse me, of clubs. And what they did was they sold their stadium. They sold their stadium to their sister company for some $100 million or something like that. And it's one of those cases where it's like, how can you sell an asset to yourself, and consider it being like an actual sale? If that's the case, then you might as well just, you can make up any number and internally write it off. But I'm always told Liverpool, buy to sell. We're up there, buy to sell. And then if that's the case, then who gets sold? I'm going to ask you that really quickly. Who gets sold? Because there's players on this team. Surely.
McAllister and Sabota are the main ones for me.
You sell Dominic Szoboszlai.
Oh no, I wouldn't do it, but I don't think he would say no. Mm-hmm.
You would sell Dominic Szoboszlai.
Say again?
You would sell Dominic Szoboszlai.
No, I didn't say that. I said the way he's playing, you can see another team coming in for him. And that team, who I think it could be, he wouldn't say no to him. That's my opinion. And happy birthday to Dara in the chat. Hope you're cool, bro. Hope you enjoyed your day. And I'm cool, Eric. Everything good, bro.
Happy birthday, Dara. Happy birthday.
You should check your phone, bro.
Oh, okay. I will. After the show, I will check it for sure. You would sell. You heard it here first, people. JK wants to sell Dominic Szoboszlai. Joking. I'm not trying to get in trouble.
But you know what I mean, though. I'll be saying it for a long time. Yeah.
I think you can get $100 million for Dominic Szoboszlai.
Yeah.
Now Real Madrid wouldn't pay that, and
no way.
And Barcelona can't pay that, and I don't think he's going. Bayern Munich's not going to pay that. There's the teams that can pay that are either in Saudi Arabia or maybe a PSG or something like that. And they're just not going to pay that. I mean, Chelsea, Arsenal, Manchester United, they could certainly pay that if they wanted to, but Are they going to? And would we sell to those teams? No.
No. Look, that's what I'm saying about football nowadays. Barcelona, I think them days of Barcelona buying our players for 100 odd million all the time are gone. Yeah, the figure that for Sabotolo, that what we would want, no one will be able to afford it.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, and that's why for me, when you're a footballer, you've got to concentrate on the now. The future is the future, you know. You could trip over tomorrow and mess yourself up, so you ain't going to play for ages. But hey, the now is now, and that's why people like Konaté, Sabotsolai, fair play to him. On the pitch, he does his shift. It's just off the pitch, the way he answers questions. Him and Arne Slot are right pair, them two. Someone needs to have a word with them too, man. But yeah, Sabotsolai is a good player. Just depends on where his heart is. That's all it is for me. Look, Gravenberch, you could tell where, like Gravenberch, in the future, he's still young. I think Gravenberch has improved his game this season, attacking-wise, but defensively not so. But he signed a big contract now, 6 years, so he's like, I want to play for Liverpool. Yeah.
Right.
But this a manager makes the most important role at a club of keeping players happy and keeping players at the club. I think Coutinho was the only one really under Klopp that got away. Klopp tried. But then again, if we didn't get rid of Coutinho, would we have got Van Dijk and say Alisson? We don't know. So sometimes a player leaving, it could be for the better, you know? I think them days of Torres going, remember when Torres was going to Chelsea? Wow, how did you feel that day? That was horrible. Yeah.
Almino was one of my favorite players. At that time, he was one of my favorite players. I think the knee injury was horrible. It changed a lot about his play, but it also changed a lot about his confidence and the direction that he went with his career. But
yeah,
I mean, it was ugly. I mean, he was at the time when we sold him, it was the highest sale of a player at that time. I think it was like 50 million or something
50
like
million.
that.
50, bro. It was big. Them days, we're talking a long time ago now. That was a lot of money. Then we were like, God, what's going on here? It was mad. And because we all wanted the player to stay.
Or 100 millions for players that now we're talking 100 millions for players that we probably seen play for a year.
Yeah. Simple as, bro. The transfer market, football is more of a business now. When you look at teams like Leipzig are really smashing it. They get players, improve them, and sell them for big fees, bro. And we've done a lot of business with them.
Brighton as well. Brighton's done the same.
Yeah, so just the valuation of players for me is a bit misleading. Hence why the British media always, when a youthful player out from England comes on the scene, the club who he's playing for will try to promote this lad to get the best fee for him. Because if you're playing for, I don't know, let's say a West Ham. Actually, West Ham are pretty good. Let's go Norwich. Norwich have come up into the Premier League. And they've got a top player there. He's like scoring week in, week out. Top player, good runs, everything. And the media will do little pieces on him. And the club will try to promote his value because they know next season they could be in the Championship again. So what they'll do is try to put salt and pepper on the new guy who's smashing it, just in case they want to sell him. And that's why a lot of players really, it's all capitalism of a player in that way of getting the best value of a player who might not even be that great. And that's what it is most of the majority of the time. Carl Palmer, I don't understand the fuss there. You know, so he was worth loads, you know. So, yeah, football is all business related. Players who ain't great, but are sold as great, you know. So,
Yeah, no, look, I'm gonna say this is it's not gonna be an easy conversation. This is we'll go like another 10, 15 minutes for this because this is something I did want to talk about because it's not an easy subject to talk about. And that is like players, like as in the selling of players or um moving on from players that, absolutely mean something to a good majority of us. And when you think about it, it's easy to say Liverpool need to rebuild. It's easy to say Liverpool need three, four, maybe five. Some have said six, seven players. Some people have said, but like let's say three, four, five players, because there are. Think about it. So I've heard right back. I've just heard DM. I've heard right wing. I've heard center half. I've heard a left back now, possibly with Robbo possibly leaving as well. I've heard that we need possibly an additional front man. That's seven players right there. So what people don't say is rebuilds are funded by exits.
Yeah.
It has to be. And unlike myself on Football Manager, who I do keep a good budget, by the way, I keep my budget clean on Football Manager. My Football Manager team is elite. Elite. I will definitely take on anyone with my club. But you just don't add players, subtract players first. You have to subtract them first. And if Liverpool are what people claim to be a buy to sell club model, then this summer is going to be no cooking the books. I don't cook the books at all. None. um, um, you have to think about the fact that um, it's about who we bring in. Who are we willing to let go? And that's a big question. Every squad has three types of players: untouchables, foundational pieces, your VVDs, your alleys. You know, at one time, your Mohamed Salahs apparently, and then you have functional players, system dependent players. At least these are my classifications for players, at least. And then you have liquid assets, players you move to evolve, players that your Bobby Clarks, for instance, players that get you fees that are decent fees for what players probably wouldn't have never played for you on a consistent basis. And Liverpool right now have, I think, maybe too many in that second category rather than the first. There's not many players on this team that are untouchable. Think about it. And I'll ask you that question in the chat. Who's untouchable on this team? DVD? Allison? Who's untouchable? Dom? Well, not the JK, but Dom? Not just joking.
I was going to say Szoboszlai.
Yeah.
I was actually going to say Wirtz, Szoboszlai, Ekatike, Allison,
Yeah.
Virgil.
So you got like four, maybe five players.
Because Gapco isn't on that list no more. Even Konaté.
Konaté, McAllister. Those players are not on that list. I mean, you could say Rio's untouchable simply because you're not paying a lot of money for his salary at the moment, and he's a player that you rather has a high upside. He's young, he's talented, and there's more of a chance of developing the player. I get you could say possibly that something on those long sides, but I'm saying seriously, no, we got 4 or 5 players on this team that are untouchable, and 2 of those players are over 30 years old. So, with that said, because there's not enough clarity on the third, Let's stop dancing around. We can name some names. Federico Chiesa. It's harsh, but is it necessary?
Yeah.
He hasn't imposed himself physically on this team or been given opportunity to, which is unfortunate. But if that's the way the coach is going to play him, there's not much we can do or say about it. Harvey Elliott, the man that's in limbo in Villa. Correct. This one's emotional because I think he represents everything he represents everything that is this club, that is good about this club. He represents the pathway. He represents a player that has gone from a youth player, not necessarily in our youth academy, but youth player, to a player that slowly but surely worked his way into the starting lineup. And his reward was the limbo of Emery.
Yeah. That's why I didn't really respect Slot and his man management skills. Just Harvey Elliott, bro. When you rip out the soul of the club, it's just like a mad one. What's Harvey done all season, bro? Hovering around the subs bench, not even being on the subs bench some weeks, so he's probably gone shopping.
It was a poor decision, especially since Harvey had possibly, and I saw him in preseason too, at least the first season, not the second, but the first. Harvey Elliott had possibly the best preseason out of all the players. No joke.
Yeah. Last season, 3 Champions League games in a row, he scored goals in. And I tell you this now, if you're going to play a third goalkeeper on the subs bench and you told Harvey Elliott he can go to Villa, you got something fucking wrong in your head.
Yeah.
There's something not right there, because for me, I'm having Harvey Elliott all day long before I'm having Woodhouse.
Yeah, agreed.
Simple.
It's the same. It's similar to this next name. My Japanese Samurai, Wataru Endo. Reliable, professional, but let's be honest, he's not being used, and he's not a part of the long-term ceiling of this team. It's hard to say. Costas Tsimikas, Mohamed Salah's best friend, one of Mohamed Salah's best friends on the team, formerly on the team at least, a really, really important character in the locker room. Also, I believe it was he's our FA Cup. Was he our FA Cup winner or our League Cup winner? Which did he won? He won either FA Cup. Was it the League Cup that he won for us? Because I know it was in the shootout that he won it, but his kick won us a cup, a domestic cup. Good squad player, but Liverpool aren't trying to be good. We're trying to be great. And if Kirk gets to the future, then this becomes a logical exit for that player. And this is where it gets uncomfortable, because fans say always sell the fringe players. But guess what? Selling fringe players like Tsimikas or Endo or even Elliott does not bring in elite money.
And elite subs.
Yeah. I'll tell you this much. Harvey Elliott, 22 million euros is his market value as of March 9th. These are all as of March 9th. Chiesa, 15 million euros. Tsimikas, 8 million euros. Wataru Endo, 5 million euros.
No.
You add them all up. I'm going to do quick math. 22, 8, 30, 45, 50. That's 50 million euros.
Crazy. One leg of a player.
Exactly. And that's 1, 2, 3. That's 4 players that you just saw exit. So I hear when people are like, oh, just sell him, just bring him in, sell him, bring him in. It doesn't work like that. Trust me. It is not easy.
And the thing is, Hughes does the selling and buying, but if the manager's adamant, he's like, yo, this Harvey lad, yeah, we can get 30 million for him, but he's very important to me. He got 3 goals in the Champions League last season, blah, blah, blah. And he's sort of a soul in the club. He's a Liverpool fan. We need his sort of energy at the club. We ain't got enough of it. They would have said, all right, we'll keep him. The only reason we probably got rid of him is because of the transfer we could have got for him and Kwanzaa compared to, say, Endo and Tsimikas. You know what I mean? Even in Tsimikas now.
Yeah. Look, real rebuilds, because that's what we're in. We're in a rebuild. We're in a transition. Let's hold on to the Jurgen Klopp days. Let's hold on to that essence, that formula, that style of play, that style of a team is gone because we've sold or moved on from the players that exist as the heart of that type of team. So real sacrifice is what's going to be required. And it's tough for me, especially. I'm one of those football romantics that love the players because of what they bring to the team, because of what they've sacrificed, what they just like we were talking about Elliot. I love Ringlets because of the heart and passion that he brings to this team and how you can tell that the badge means something to him. But I'm asking, are Liverpool willing to sell players that we like in order to become a team we need? Because that's the difference between a lot. That's the difference between staying competitive and becoming dominant again. And I'll tie this all back to everything we discussed tonight. You want a new winger? Cool. That costs money. You want a new DM? Cool. That costs money. You want structural stability? Cool. That costs money. I'm not going to say the explicitive, but it's like I'll say from a movie that I know my boy JK loves, from Goodfellas. F you, pay me. That's what it is. Not ownership, not magic. It is real numbers. And that's the reality of modern football. Sentiment delays progress. I am sentimental as they come. Loyalty complicates evolution. I'm as loyal to players as it comes. I didn't want to see Bobby, for instance, leave. But it had to happen. And that's where it's like a weird dance that you play with these situations. You hold on to a player maybe 1 year too long. So who's the first difficult sale Liverpool should make this summer? It's going to be a real big question. I know some are probably going to say Cody Gakpo. I get it. Yeah. Some of you might say McAllister. And those players could amount to good money. Right now, McAllister is worth 80 million euros, on the market. Cody Gakpo is worth about 65 million on the market.
Crazy.
That's 145 million euros that you have in those two sales, and that could amount to an Elise. That could amount to a Schlotterbeck and maybe a Camavinga. Maybe. Pushing it, I know. But those are some real tough questions and tough answers that we have to have. And knowing that Hughes and Edwards are going to possibly be out the door, maybe this summer, if not next, we're in a really tough place right now.
You know what? I realised what I don't really like over the last few years at Liverpool is that It's a soap opera throughout the season. Look at last season: Salah, Virgil, Trent. Then you got Konaté's name popping in and out, and this season's been the same shenanigans. So always off-field bullshit that's going on. Like, I don't care about Edwards and the other guy. They can do one tomorrow if they want. You know what I mean? Right now, we got a game to win on Saturday, bro. And we got PSG and all them guys coming up as well. And Edwards could have got another guy in to do the job, but he didn't. So at the end of the day, I'm going to point my finger at them two guys for not moving this manager on in this 2 weeks we just had to do it. So it's up to Arne Slot now to say, hey, JK, I proved you wrong. And I'd be like, brother, I'm happy. But you know what I mean, though. So because of the standard of gameplay, we're playing like a bunch of losers. We're meant to be champions, and we're playing like we've never played football before. And that only happens when you listen to the manager too much, and he's brainwashed your brain, and you think, what the fuck's going on here? Andy Robertson, prime example, last season. Terrible. Why? His game just switched because of the way Arne Slot played football. And some of these players ain't designed to play Arne Slot football for me.
Yeah.
But would Salah look so energetic and fast if he was in a Klopp team? In an Arne Slot team, he looks like he's the man. But would he be like that in a Jurgen Klopp team? Because everyone else is fast as anything. Salah, Mane, everyone, bang, bang. He was just wild. So Arne Slot needs to put his foot down now. He has to. He cannot conserve energy for whatever he's trying to do, hibernating the players all bloody season. You know? It's now or never, man.
It is.
Now or never.
It is. Look, people. Oh no, go ahead. You want to say something?
I'm gonna just say it. Like, I'm realistically, okay. Us fans will be like, should be really excited now, thinking, "Oh, big game Saturday." Then Wednesday is another big one. Like, come on, I can't wait for these games. But this manager has sort of drained that out of the fans. Like, us Liverpool fans should be getting boisterous now, thinking, come on, we can do this. I think we can if we wanted to. If our players think, yeah, let's turn up today like they did against Galatasaray 4-0 at home. That was a top display all around. Why? Because they knew the fans were not happy. So they need to still realise the fans are still not happy. We've got 1 point out of 9 in the Premier League, bro. 1 point out of 9. And you're still giving this manager more time? Crazy. So it's up to them now. It's up to like Arne Slot, Edwards, Morgan. Yeah.
Yeah. Look, no matter the noise, no matter the uncertainty, this club has rebuilt before and it will build again. It is because, look, it's Liverpool Football Club. I know often we've heard the terms of players come and go, but the football club remains, and that's the truth. The other thing that should remain steady and constant is our support and our love for this club. If you're new to this channel, or if you're one of the people that came over on the raid, please do hit the subscribe button. It does mean something. It actually does symbolize what we always talk about the Liverpool fan base should be about, which is support regardless of who and what it is. I am signed up and subscribed to channels of content creators that I don't agree. I don't think even 5-10% of what they say. But I do respect the fact that they are Liverpool Reds. So I do show support by subscribing. I do my best to try to be a light that can give another perspective, a different perspective than their own. And it matters. A lot of those same content creators don't want you to be in the conversation because they like to bully the conversation. We here are about trying to listen to the conversation and conduct respectfully and responsibly conversations that'll make us stronger Reds in whatever conversation we engage in. So I appreciate your support. I appreciate the OGs. I appreciate the new people that have come over, maybe dropped a like, hopefully. And even more so, hit that subscribe button as well. Be appreciative. And at the end of every show, we do something that is unique. Oh, big up, Biggs. You heard the message. I appreciate that. And one thing that we do at the end of the show, we give this little bit of like this feel good moment. We try to bring a feel good moment, whether it's a laugh, whether it's a smile. We try to make it a little bit of a raise in our spirits, knowing that myself, JK, Lee, Nalante, JP, KJ, those that frequent the channel, that we have your back. And not only do we have your back, we also walk with you. Because Liverpool is never defined by one player, it's not defined by a manager or one moment, it's defined by us all. So now I would love to give you a moment or a dose of your moment of Red Zen. And this is something that I try and get choked up, but it is very difficult because this is a beautiful moment. 1 year ago today, Diogo Jota scored his last ever goal for Liverpool. It was the winner in the Merseyside derby at Anfield last season. At the time, it was just another memorable moment from Jota to Shata. Another finish, another brilliant contribution, another piece of what he gave to this club. Of course, now it means something more, because that goal was the last time we saw him do what he loved for Liverpool. And moments like that, they don't fade. They stay with us. Gone way, way, way too soon, but never, ever forgotten. Rest in peace, my Red. Rest in peace, Diogo Jota.
Yeah, man. Rest in peace, bro. And that goal he scored against Everton, the passion at the end, the way everyone celebrated with him, that's what it was all about, you know?
Yeah.
I remember my friend as well, he passed away 2 years ago as well yesterday. So sad times, but hey, Jesus as well. So yeah, man. Be happy every day you're alive, people.
Yep. With that, my friends, my Reds out there, big up to all of you. I wish you well. Take care of yourselves. Take care of your loved ones. And we'll see you here tomorrow. We're gonna get this spreadsheet show in. I'm gonna give my last shout to Zubiri to see if he can be a part of it. And he's a busy man, so I know that sometimes it's not easy. But big up to Jota, man. Forever 20 in our hearts, for sure.
For sure.
And,
thanks, Eric and Red Armchair.
Yeah. Big up to each and every one of you. Good night to everyone. And as always, up the Reds.